Christina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me where you work and what you do there.
Sure. I work for Bayer Consumer Health, so that's the OTC side of the business. And I lead our marketing capabilities, so internal marketing capabilities, marketing excellence, brand building, brand strategy work for all our brands. So I work very closely with our brand teams on their brand repositioning, their target audiences, all down to executional excellence. So thinking about how we're going to actually execute that from a media perspective, how will we deliver those messages to the consumer, planning, all that good stuff.
Soup to nuts.
Soup to nuts, innovation. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. On Hey Sis, Eat This, our show, we celebrate moms, and our mom really inspired us to kind of start this journey into podcasting. And I want to know who in your life has really influenced you professionally and personally.
Probably my dad. My dad was always a breadwinner at home. He came from Italy, grew up I'm first generation Italian. So, he had not a lot. Him and my mom came with not a lot from their families.
Yeah.
And he really had to work for everything. So he really taught me about grit. I feel like, and it's like instilled in me as an individual. I get choked up because it's so true. Like, you don't realize it until you get older,
right?
How much your childhood actually impacts how you behave later in life.
Absolutely.
So I feel like my dad really was like the driving force of that. The funny thing is, I think as I've evolved as an individual, I've realized grit is a really strong thing to have, and a lot of people do have it, but those who do have it have like a superpower, and how to use that superpower.
I love that. It really is.
Yeah,
grit
but grit can also be a negative in some cases because you work really hard and you're like, does that totally pay off? In the end?
Yeah.
But
if you're, grinding at work and that grit.
Exactly.
Sometimes
stop. Yeah. So you're always working really hard, thinking that will pay off. And I think over time I've learned you need that plus. So.
Yeah. What's one thing that women don't give themselves enough credit for in the workplace?
I think a lot of times women feel like their work will pay off for how they show up, and they don't put as much exposure. And men tend to have an ability to do that. It's just kind of ingrained in them, it feels a bit more, where women, I feel like it's something you have to be super intentional about, at least personally for myself. I feel like over time I've learned that that's something that has been a harder thing for me to achieve. Like I said earlier, like working really hard was like ingrained in me as a child. So that never was an issue. But I think sticking up for myself, pushing forward, managing certain situations, difficult conversations for women can be really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And how have you navigated that, having difficult conversations at work, and where did you kind of find that grit?
I think I've always had it in me, to your point about the grit, but I think I've realized over time speaking up isn't such a bad thing, and it's how you position it and how do you really evolve that conversation so it feels like it's coming naturally from you and not like some script that you're giving to people. And I think over time I've just naturally ingrained it into who I am. I'm very intentional about like, I will not change who I am as an individual. It's like ingrained in me. I don't want to change, and I'm like, and I don't believe I need to change. It took me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Like to realize I could just go ahead and have those conversations with folks and be real about it in my personal, like how I want to say it, but position it in a way that people get it and understand it. And I think that's really hard for a lot of women.
Yeah. Yeah. Let them sink in of what you're trying to get across. How in your position are you working with women around you that you're building up? Are there ways that you are kind of fostering those relationships and helping those to grow and have that intention that you do?
Yeah, for sure. I see a lot, especially in our marketing community on the brand side. I coach a lot of individuals and mentor on career advice and things of that nature. And I think what I've learned over time is like, they don't realize, they think they're alone. And I try to reinforce, you're not alone. And I've been in your shoes. Like I know exactly how you're feeling. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. Like, at least going back to earlier in my career, I don't feel like people spoke about it. They were much more open about the conversation now, I think, than ever before.
Yeah.
And it really is about like humanizing it, showing empathy. It is a power. Like, you can use that, but I think it's how you use it too. Women I speak to, they're very much, you know, it's about confidence and building up that confidence. And they just need somebody to reinforce it. And I feel like not enough women reinforce and stick up for other women. And I'm like, how do we do more of that? So that's something I try to encourage a lot of internally and just in general, even if I'm talking to folks outside.
Yeah. And how do we do that? How do we instill confidence amongst women and support the ones coming up in the workforce?
I think it's about giving good feedback. Like, I think sometimes feedback has such negative connotation, even for myself personally. If I go back, for a long time, I would get feedback. And if I'm like kind of a perfectionist. I'm like, I'm so good. I want to be good. I don't want to have negative feedback.
Yeah.
I've learned that actually negative feedback even makes you better. And it's not negative. It's just proactive, like
ways
feedback
to improve.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times that feedback piece is something that people tend to dwell on and they don't focus on the positives. Use your strengths to really build up your confidence.
Right.
And over time, I've really learned that.
Right. And I think you make a great point. I think as women take things seriously and we are always looking that people might be coming at us negatively or might be more sensitive to it, but saying, hey, you know, feedback is good.
Yeah.
And it's ways to improve and you learn from it. And it doesn't have to be negative if you look at it in a very positive way.
I think it's so true. And I think so many people are facing that. And I just wish we would do more of it, especially for those who are earlier in their careers, and train them to think about feedback in a different way. So how do we make sure that they feel like they have an opportunity to truly take that self-improvement, and it's not a negative, it's actually helping you to build, and over time those become strengths, so like you can evolve them into your strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your tough day pick-me-up?
Tough day pick-me-up,
is it a drink, is it a bath, is it shopping, is it a movie?
It depends on what the tough day is. If it's kids related, it might be a drink. I think sometimes I'm just like a nice cup of coffee, a little bit of downtime for myself, a little reflection on myself,
a little self-care.
Self-care for myself, just taking a moment for myself. I actually feel like I had that this morning where I called home and my husband was like, my daughter was like really super cranky. My husband's like not happy about it. Yeah. It's like a little chaos. I'm like, okay, I think it's time for me to go now. Like I need to go. Like, you know, it was giving me stress. And then I was like, I don't need this stress. Right now. I'm not there. I can't really help.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like stepping away. I think before I was very reactive to things. Like if someone said something and I now take a lot more time to self-reflect and think about how I want to position it. And I think that comes over time too.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to learn, to not be reactive.
Yeah.
Teach me.
I still am working on it, but it's getting better.
Right. Well, when you figure it out, let me know. I feel most proud of myself when...
Those moments with my kids, I think, are the proudest moments because I always say, like, I love my career. I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I love what I do. I like honestly, truly love marketing. And I feel like it's always been innate in me. But my kids and being a mom has changed me so much. And it's the hardest job I've ever had. I know it's like a cliche to say this, but I think those moments with the kids where you're just like laying in bed with them and they're just like, Mom, I love you. Yeah, those are like the
sweet moments.
Sweet moments that you just like...
You gotta relish them.
Yeah, because you're like, are they gonna be forever? I don't know. I don't think so.
No, but they come back. Well, Christina, thank you so much for joining me today. It's just gabbing with friends.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Good. Love it.